Do you feel like you're always playing Fortnite but seemingly never getting better and maybe getting even worse? Well, if you want to get better at Fortnite, the strategy is pretty straightforward. You have to practice.
Not a game, we talking about practice.
There's a massive difference in simply playing the game and practicing the game. And the reality is you could actually do both at the same time. You just have to make a few changes in how you're playing. Drink your water. I'm a huge believer in making small adjustments that lead to major changes. So if you're already playing a lot of Fortnite, but you feel like you're not getting any better, then this video, this series, will give you the few small changes you need to make that major change in your skill. From retakes to POI strats to everything in between, make sure to hit that sub button and follow this series. Trust me, it's worth it. The first and most obvious element is going to be how you start your play sessions. Do you just jump into a game, cold hands, or do you go into a creative map and warm up? This, to be honest, is going to be the biggest factor in so many people's growth and improvement. We've all encountered that moment where we confidently jumped into a game, grabbed our first weapon, jumped into a fight, and then got ran over like a train. Anybody that's played any video game, any sport, created any level of art, really done anything that takes focus, understands the dynamic range or the difference between themselves when they're just not feeling it or actually in the zone. Most of you will understand this as being locked in.
You ain't locking in, I ain't locking in, let's lock in.
Most people can't just sit down and be in that zone, especially those of us who are above the age of 30. It's just not realistic to think you can just sit down and immediately compete with people who've been playing for hours on Adderall and who are chugging a ghost energy. Not to mention, most of our habits are built within the games we play, how we react and how we execute what we want to do. If you're warmed up, you're going to consistently be playing at a high level, which is going to build up your habits, as opposed to consistently playing you're getting dogged on because you're getting dogged on, so then your habits start to reflect someone who's always getting dogged on. You need to be putting yourself in the best possible position to succeed. So when you load into a game with cold hands and you're not in the zone, you're setting yourself up for failure. Before you work out or play a sport or play an instrument, you stretch your muscles. Well, your mind is a muscle, your largest in fact, so why wouldn't you do the same? If you want to warm up with builds, it's these types of islands that are going to help you drastically. You can work on your crosshair placement by slowing it down or move it up so that when you do normal speed, it feels extremely slow. And go into maps like this to warm up your aim to make sure you're flicking correctly and on target. Spending the first 15 minutes doing this every play session is going to make a huge difference in your game style before you know it. I guarantee if you keep doing this for 2 weeks, you'll be playing better than you ever have. It's actually a wild difference you feel editing after you've practiced at a 1.2 times speed. If you've played baseball, you know exactly what this is. When you're on deck, you put that extra weight on your bat for those practice swings.
Lock in.
It makes you feel like you can swing 1,000 times faster when you're actually at the plate. And the reality is, you can swing faster. The main reason why creative is so important and so efficient is that it allows for you to get into fights with no breaks, non-stop. If you think you're practicing while you're playing BR with your friends when you fight 50 bots a lobby and then spend 5 minutes between each fight, you're lying to yourself. The amount of battle experience you get in creative versus BR is genuinely 100 to 1. Serious, drink your water. Every OG knows exactly what happened to Fortnite when Playground was introduced. The skill gap exploded because some people figured out that they could just sit in Playground for 12 hours a day and accomplish as much editing and aim training as someone who spent 6 months playing the game. And that might not even be an exaggeration. This will forever be known as the inflection point in Fortnite's history. Once the average gamer couldn't just load it and play a few games where they felt they had a legitimate chance to win, it was a completely different narrative. The average Joe quit. People recognizing the importance of warming up and playing in creative changed everything.
A lot of people ain't eating.
Which means you have to as well. You have to evolve. But this doesn't mean you have to become a creative warrior. We'll get to that in another video. What I'm telling you is that you can simply spend the first 15 to 20 minutes, the same amount you spend in your first game, or the same amount of time it would take dying off dropping 3 games in a row, as it would warming up while also improving your mechanics. It will make the entire experience for you better and much more enjoyable. And maybe your friends will stop yelling at you as much. Trust me.
Lock in.
Almost every one of my channel's viewers is not subscribed to the channel. Do me a huge favor and hit that subscription button. We're trying to get monetized. My dog and I. And if you enjoyed this video, think about watching either of these videos that's on the screen. As always, hit that sub button and turn on notifications. Go out there and do something great.